Darren Gerber, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. To start us off, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, thanks so much, Andrea, and good to see you as well. Darren Gerber, I'm a partner in the Australian firm. My focus is really around helping sustainability functions and CFOs ingest and deliver sustainability reporting and sustainability activities across their organisation. I also have the privilege of leading our Asia Pacific sustainability reporting team. So thanks for the opportunity to be with you today.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. You'd be seeing incredible insights across the region as well as locally.
Yep.
One of the biggest topics we're hearing is around governance and controls,
Yep.
and how do you set that up? But maybe it'd be great to just get a clear definition of what do you think governance and controls means, and what does that mean to a CFO office?
Yeah, it's a great question. And clearly, a lot of the regulatory instruments describe the need to have governance and control. In its essence, governance and control is about how an organisation sets up the management and executive and non-executive structures to oversee and report on climate risks and opportunities. And it's really as simple as that. It's about how do you take those existing pieces of infrastructure, processes and systems and enhance them and uplift them around the climate disclosure and also climate risk and opportunity dimensions.
That's a really good description. And I think when you refer to the existing framework and existing infrastructure, one of the things that I've heard with climate reporting in particular this year is around the challenges on building a reporting framework. I've also heard the benefits of using existing infrastructure. What are your thoughts on that in the CFO office?
I think CFO officers clearly have lots of experience around reporting, new reporting requirements. I think climate reporting falls squarely within the same principles that have been applied previously and are being applied currently by organisations. And so therefore, what I mean by that very clearly is when thinking about climate reporting, it's ultimately about, to the greatest extent possible, leveraging the existing processes and systems you already use. There'll be lots of experience in the organisation. Don't build something new, leverage what you've got, uplift and keep it really practical.
So really focus on the pragmatism and
Yeah.
and really look at what you've already got inside the systems. I think that's such an important takeaway where we know that finance transformation is a very topical agenda for
Yep.
CFOs at the moment. But as part of that, we're also hearing the challenges around acquiring assurable and available and in particular accurate data. What are your thoughts on that, and how are CFOs exploring that at the moment?
Yeah, I think data is going to be the biggest challenge for CFOs and finance functions and organisations around sustainability generally and very specifically as it relates to their disclosure obligations. First of all, a lot of the data that is needed to support the disclosure obligations or around broader sustainability and climate risk and opportunity is new. And so in financial reporting, we've had many, many years of building systems and processes to capture it in a controlled way. This is new. So how do you capture new information? How do you express and explain to many people across the organization that when they're, for instance, capturing an energy invoice or something to do with fuel consumption or something to do with an investment company's emissions, that that information is as important as financial reporting information. And that's where it needs to get to. So that will take time. It's absolutely a journey that organizations have commenced and are on. It is the biggest challenge. The challenge is also, as I was touching on, it's cross-functional. You're asking parts of the business that haven't traditionally been involved in sustainability reporting or having to deal with climate risks and opportunities to actually recognize that what they do is always not only just important, but there's a very important fiduciary obligation with respect to oversight and accurate information into market.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about data, it would be remiss of me not to call out the big elephant in the room, which is, of course, AI. What do you see as AI's now role in enhancing those disciplines, noting that you've got these cross-functional environments,
Yeah.
you've got probably a finance transformation happening in some area of the function. How do you see AI playing a role as well?
I mean, clearly AI is a huge thematic running through the market and running through corporations, and then very specifically running very clearly through finance teams from an efficiency and effectiveness point of view. I think we are at a really lucky stage with respect to climate reporting and broader climate risk and opportunity management, that this is a new domain. So what I'd be encouraging any CFO is, if there is ever a place that you wanted to pilot building something new, leveraging AI, this would be the place to start, because it is new. It provides that learning opportunity to the business. Another thread just to express is, clearly there is a significant amount of AI investment happening globally, whether it's applications, tech vendors, looking at helping to enhance the pain point that you touched on, which is clear, accurate information, getting insights. And therefore, I'd also be looking at some of those significant investments that have been made, because that is where I think ultimately the market will move, and it'll be much more efficient through AI.
Obviously, the evolution of this technology will expand further, but the opportunity to acquire those data points will
Yeah.
be much more available.
Yeah.
Now, Darren, you're working across the whole of the region, not just Australia. What are some of the best practices you're seeing in the CFO office, whether that be in Australia or outside of Australia, particularly around climate reporting?
I think leading functions have recognised the cross, I guess, BU nature of climate reporting. And so I'd say that leading organisations and finance teams recognise that building a really thoughtful and practical operating model to support sustainability reporting is important. And it may be as simple as a simple RACI model, but I think that's absolutely best practice. I think best practice, and organisations are certainly moving into this domain, is around really thinking about the underlying control environment and control framework to support sustainability reporting. I think that's absolutely critical. And then just more generally, leading functions are actually recognising, to your first question, that we've actually got lots of skills in our organisation to do this. How do we actually bolt this in as opposed to build something new? So again, that word that you picked up before, practical, pragmatic, that is where the market's at. I think also importantly, there is also vision to the future. This is about disclosure, but there is a significant opportunity in the market should you get this right. First of all, you've got it right to enable a disclosure, but how then are you using this management information to inform decision making, to make strategic choices? Organisations are at the very early stages of that, if I'm honest, but importantly, the leading ones are actually have a clear plan to think about second and third order thinking to get to that outcome.
So they're finally kind of starting to see the commercial value, and is what I'm hearing from you. And what I kind of referred to is that when you've got a clear P&L, the ability to make the right strategic choices for execution is really imperative and available to you. Are you seeing that now start to come to fruition in other countries, if not Australia, like Japan or others?
Yeah, I think the sustainability and climate reporting agenda has entered a period of a bit of flux, in particular with what's happened in continental Europe. What I'm absolutely seeing is that organisations are taking that practical view, but there is a very clear narrative around concepts such as sustainable performance management. So how do we, irrespective of some of that flux, how do we handle the fact that we've always had really good financial information, we've got really good sustainable information. How do we action that and put that into the hands of business leaders and managers to make the right decisions, whether it's around procurement? And so there are many angles to this sustainability agenda that can handle and enhance the resilience of organisations, the efficiency of organisations. And I guess when I touched on before, second and order thinking, leading organisations are in that place.
I keep hearing this time and time again, is how do we use existing infrastructure? How do we make it pragmatic? And how do we use those insights to actually deliver on their strategic agenda?
Yeah.
I'd love, in our final question, you've got all these insights of working across multiple sectors. What are some of the really interesting insights you're hearing across the region, no matter the sector, and in those CFO offices?
So you touched on data before being a challenge. I think drilling down on data, scope 3, is the most complex part of this. Collecting the data around that. So I think that would be one of the most significant challenges that organisations have. So I think that would be insight one. it is really daunting. And so for the finance teams and the CFOs listening to this, know that you're not alone around the challenge with respect to that. I would expect over the next 3 or 4 years, organizations will be getting better at that. But also, I also expect as increasing there are more disclosures, you'll have more readily available information or you can buy it. So rest assured that this issue will be solved. So I'd say that be absolutely insight number one. Also, insight number two, as you think about a sustainability reporting project, to the point on operating model and race here before, there are many, what we tend to find is that organizations have many sustainability related agendas, activities across the organization. How do you get all of those aligned so that you're getting value from that activity? It's efficient, but also the communication into the organization is really, really clear. And to that point, a climate strategy that's truly owned, or a sustainability strategy that's truly owned by the board, driven by the executive, and put into the business with clear KPIs and measures is really where I'd be suggesting organizations go.
Those are great insights. I love that we're talking about pragmatism, using AI as fuel to be able to acquire available and accurate data, really looking at cross business unit function and performance and how you get this information, and also looking at how you're engaging the board and really putting these things into practice to create commercial value on the end run. Darren, thank you so much for
My
joining
pleasure.
us
Thanks,
today. I
Andrea.
really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you.